We're going to work through our three-dimensional die project. What I've started with here is the file from our laser cut paper die, only I've removed the tabs that we have on there and put everything on the black layer. So to turn this into a three-dimensional die so that we can 3D print it, we're going to need to create some surfaces, some solids, fold up those surfaces, and then do some union or some difference. So what I'm going to start with, I'm going to use the sphere tool, diameter, and in each of these holes that I drew before, I'm going to put a sphere in, going from side to side so that they're the same size. And I'm just clicking enter between so that I can quickly use the same command so I don't have to select it each time. Okay, so we have those, and they look like they're either a surface or a solid here. If we want to double check, we can look in perspective or one of the other viewports, and we can see that yes, in fact, they are solid. Now the next thing we need to do is create surfaces in each of these boxes. There's a couple ways we can do that, but I think the easiest is if we do plane, corner to corner. We want to make sure we have O-snap on for this. Snap to the corner, and there we go. Second one. There's number 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if I change to perspective now, we can see that we have 6 surfaces and we have the spheres that extend beyond those surfaces. So I'm going to work in all 4 viewports right now because we're going to rotate some of these pieces up and form a three-dimensional die. So I am going to start with this bottom one. We're going to make sure we get the surface and any of the spheres that we have in there. And we're going to rotate that up. Now we need to think about which viewport we're in when we do that. So it's either going to be front or right. And we can look at this and see it's the red is what we want to rotate it on. So we're going to use the rotate command. Our center of rotation is going to be this point here. And we're going to snap out here. We want to make sure we have ortho on. And we're going to stand that straight up. Okay, just like that. And we're going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to move all these at one time. Rotate. This one we're going to do in the front viewport. Again, we stand that, whoops, forgot a sphere. We stand that straight up, so hold shift and I'll select that one. And then we're going to rotate that again. There we go. We forgot a curve, but that's okay. The curves for this aren't that important. Then we have to think about what we're doing next. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to grab all of these, make sure it highlights all of that. And this one I'm going to rotate in the front viewport again. So rotate, center of rotation, with ortho on. We can see it folded it down there. And then I am going to grab these two, and I'm going to rotate that down this way. Whoops, grab the wrong part. Center of rotation, angle, then we fold it down. Then if we look at our box, we need to bring this side in. So that's going to be this one here that's hanging off the edge. I'm going to rotate it in the top viewport so we can close it. So rotate, center of rotation, first, second. Now in perspective, we can see that we have a solid, well, almost solid box. It's 6 surfaces that have been brought up together. So I'm going to select each of the surfaces, hold down shift, make sure I get all of these selected. And I'm going to join those. Now when we do that, we have in essence a solid box. Next thing that I need to do is select that, and I'm going to remove the part of the sphere that sticks into that. So if I select the cube, go up to solid, down to difference. When I do that, I want to have delete input equals yes. That will get rid of what we start with. And we're going to go through and just make sure we select all of our spheres. Because it's part of the command, we don't have to hold down Shift for this. And if we hit Enter, we can see it took all of those spheres out, and we now have a one-piece three-dimensional die. Now the next thing we could do if we wanted is we could fillet the edges so that they're not sharp. So the command for that is fillet edge. Okay, and we're going to select all of the edges of our cube here. Rotate a little bit to make sure we get all of them. And that should be everything. Hit Enter. Whoops, let's back up. Forgot to put in our radius. So we're going to do the same command again. Next radius, I'm going to try this at 0.25 and see how that looks. So then we'll go ahead and select all of our edges. If for some reason the radius that we pick is not correct or would not work, weird things happen and you'll know pretty soon that that's not going to work. Okay, that looks okay. We'll hit Enter. And it's filleted the edges there so that it's snapped. So we now have rounded edges. If we want to get rid of our curves, we can do that. SEL-CRV. We get rid of those, and now we're left with a solid die that we can then export as an STL or an OBJ and 3D print.